Welcome to this live stream. Wow. How are people so messed up in the world? I mean, really? Wait. Oh, sorry. There's my volume. Welcome to the live stream. I was saying, how are so many people messed up in the world today? I mean, all you got to do is turn on the real news, which is, yes and no to YouTube, because there are mixed messages. Sometimes it seems like the neural monitoring goes around full circle. And oh my, we have lots to question, but definitely mainstream media is not the place to go for your news and information because that is the behind the times information. Welcome to the live stream. If you have not been here before, feel free to hit the thumbs up if you like this, but wait till the end to judge and subscribe. I do have a GoFundMe page, but it's not posted below yet. And share, please share with others. So I'm going to kind of try to stay off of the neighborly obsession topic, uh, even though sometimes when I come home, when my heavily obsessed neighbors, Three's Company is what I call them, are on break. I will come home in the dark after work and find that the oncoming traffic in my neighborhood that just pulls out right at the very time that I enter the street meets me head on right about at my driveway, which is really disturbing. You've got to really ask yourself the questions of how are people on YouTube finding out my information? Why in the world is Tina Plakinger? I'm a fan. I'm a fan. Okay. I mean, she's talking about people killing her dogs. She has a great book, devotional Treading on Serpents. But then why is she sitting there wearing purple and black in a plaid chair, which the plaid to me is cult. It's cult patterning because anybody who is showing up as your gang stalkers in public, da da da, who is wearing a pattern or behaving in a manner that's not actually speaking to you and saying, look, we're having a fire in the country, you need to get out. I mean, if the message isn't that real to me, then I don't take it seriously. I take it as cult patterning, cult programming. Uh, Call it what you will, mind control, whatever. I think that's all a facade. It's phony. It's very phony, just like the phony prayer group, right? It's phony. But I almost wonder how much they put these people under some sort of control. It's possible that because somebody like her is targeted pretty heavily to the point of pretty much near devastation, isolation, from being a pretty big contender in the world down to minimized. I get it. I understand what they're doing. So I'm trying to look at how mind control manipulations might have an impact on people. I had some lady in the store tonight. I needed a 9-volt battery, and the local dollar store has them at $5 a piece. And I'm like, "Are you serious? I can go get a 9-volt battery cheaper than that. I'm not going to pay your stupid price. I'll let my fire alarm go off all night." Well, so far today it's been pretty quiet, which is interesting because I would have bought the $5 battery and came home to a quiet house anyway. So I think that those things might just be erratically going off based on how they use the mind-blowing technology, how they use the dew weapons or the stingray or the microwave weapons or whatever it is that they're doing, which is criminal, on your heat, on your water, on your Wi-Fi, on your devices in your home like your fire alarms, whatever they're doing to calculate it, to set it off, to trigger it. just like they trigger our brains, right? The electromagnetic frequencies, whatever in our brains. It's hard to say how many people are indoctrinated, maybe not by their own will, and or used for the very purpose of human trafficking, whether it's sexually or not, and that happened to me. So I understand. Michael F. Bell talks about this in American Cyborg, which is his third book that I own by him. It's very clear what these people are up to, but you have to wonder how much on board they take somebody like Tina Plackinger, who is the writer of the book of the devotional, the TI devotional, into a place where, you know, the devil is using deception. He's using smoke and mirrors to plant all these seeds. So it's kind of a back and forth with the brain, a cognitive dissonance of sorts, where the brain can't really register who's good and who's bad, who's right and who's wrong, who's evil and who's not. This is the very programming that we are subjected to on a daily basis. It's just terrible. Now I want to talk about the orange beanies. Anybody showing up in the orange beanie in my presence anymore? I'm sorry. But the message is you are late getting to the party. The thing is, they show up. They'll they'll pull up like they've just been given the assignment that, hey, she's going to this grocery store. Show up in the orange beanie, so you kind of freak her out or scare her. Well, the thing is, I'm not alarmed by it anymore. I don't care. You're really late getting to the party, if you will. Everybody's already on board with what's going on, and if you're not, you're watching the wrong news channel. So they are late getting to the party. Now, the other thing, I was thinking about designing a different t shirt, and this one would read Fan Club for, for all of the stalkers who have, I really look at it and I'm like, you really don't have anything better to do with your day, do you? Well, I'm frantically trying to run around, trying to piece together all the parts in my life that I need to do, wash some dishes, get some laundry done, clean up my house because Satan comes in when I'm not here and litters the fairy dust all over the dirt. For some reason I'm finding little I don't know what they're called. They're just little mealworms. I don't know what they are, but they sprinkle it all over my damn counters. And there's a stench in my house that smells like sewage. Somebody had commented on one of my earlier posts that this is like a normal thing, because it's interesting because I don't even think it's actually coming from pipes or from toilets or sinks or anything in my home. I think it's just that they're littering something right at my front door, somewhere in my basement or somewhere in my house where it's just some sort of garbage pollutant crap that they're doing. Um, but anyways, nevertheless, if I drive by people or pass people, vehicular gang stalking, whatnot, in the store, I just call them my fan club. From now on, I just, shout it out or talk about it. I'm going to get a t-shirt, I think, that's made up just like the gang stalkers, but mine's going to say fan club, because it's just everywhere. It's like paparazzi. It gets annoying, but I can make it fun if I want to. Yesterday, the bottom lock was unlocked on my door when I came home. Today it was locked. But I do notice, because I pay careful attention to how I leave my house every day and how I come home to my house every day. I pay very close attention. So remember, when the subtleties kick in, this is when they know that you're on to them and they know that you're paying attention. And there's lots of things that are moved around in my house every day, lots of very subtle things that if I'm actually not documenting it, my phone's out of space for pictures, so that ain't happening unless I get out an extra camera, and they've already tampered with some of that stuff. So I have to really pay attention. But the subtleties, I do notice they just mess with little things. They move little things. They adjust little things. They put little dirty things here and there in the kitchen, on the counters. I see little like sprinkled dust, dirt. I don't know if these are little mealworms or whatever they're putting. They're dead, but they put them on the counters and sprinkle them back in the corner. It's just really gross. So, I find this stuff every day, or something. I don't know what the heck they are, but anyways, I pay attention to the little things that they're doing. License plates, or there's always some sort of message on license plates that are passing me. Yes, the other day I was headed to work. The message was Paisley at the Starbucks, which is funny because I had listed some items on Facebook, and one of them I had just adjusted to Paisley. I had used a key search term as Paisley. In God We Trust tags. Those are still my favorite. If you see an In God We Trust tag, those are usually by the corporate abusers from one of the three-digit agencies who are perpetrating this madness. They're the psychopaths and sociopaths running the show. But oddly enough, they drive with the In God We Trust tags. Sometimes they even park in front of me with their extended cab version of their truck, so as maybe to hide and conceal things in the back. Who knows? But this is what I see happening lately. The neighbors, Three's Company, I think they're taking time off from their neighborly obsessed gang stalking, if you will. And I've got some other neighbors who are taking up the whole, the whole job. But you've got to wonder what makes people so obsessed with you, and what you can do to actually sever that tie or stop it or whatever. But there really isn't an answer, is there? I find this really disturbing. Some people talk up the military really great. Well, the military, which I'm not sure if everybody knows this, but the military industrial complex is involved heavily in my targeting. So is the government. And so is it the case with a lot of people. So I'm not necessarily in on supporting the military, especially since I know exactly what the military is. The military is the government's sick, twisted way of using and abusing people as weapons. And this is part of the reason why I'm in this program, is because they think that I am easily weaponized and able to be targeted for all sorts of human trafficking experimentation. This is very true for a lot of TIs, but I have discovered this myself. And all you've got to do is really piss off the government with some sort of photograph, or, just something that's really insignificant, irrelevant, just, something that's not so serious. It's just trivial and meaningless, and that can trigger a response. So it's not necessarily, it's just like police officers that are involved in gang stalking. Maybe not all the military is involved in this, but in my beginning of discovery with my gang stalking, that seems to be the heavy premise. It seems to be what is real. Now, I'm not saying, I guess I'm not saying that that's true of everybody, but the fire department harasses and drives past, the police drive past and harass, and have in more than one way, and other entities, government, military, you name it. So, yeah, I realize that there's probably good people out there, but I have yet to meet them, or yet to believe their stories, because this is really bad. What's actually happening is really, really bad for all of us. And I realize politically, the left is no better than the right is no better than the left. There are sinister people on all sides. You have your president who is claiming that he's all about loyalty. Well, he's only about loyalty if you are Hitler-esque over him. if you will. So in his loyalty to anybody else doesn't seem to matter. So then he gets all these Christian believers, all these people on his, that play on to that, all these distorted ways of looking at reality. I forget exactly how this was explained, but it's interesting how this kind of plays out, how people will jump on any kind of bandwagon to out somebody else without looking at their own selves first. And this seems to be the case for most narcissists. Anybody who has an ego driven mentality, or anybody who fears looking bad, or, having feelings or anything like that, having any of those things go against them. It's really disturbing that people don't have a better well-roundedness in their lives, a better wholeness, and something more fulfilling and solid and sincere about them. So, anyways, this is just, yeah, it's good and healthy to come on here and talk about gang stalking, because it is a horrific thing that is happening. And, they've given you the sense that you can't go on, that they've stripped you away of any opportunities to make anything in your life better. So let's strip them away of the opportunity to make anything else different. Because the thing is, if we're at this point where we're doing this stuff to people, there needs to be an end. I'm sorry, but God needs to come and end it. He really does. Even if that means he just zaps all of those really nasty bad guys out of the world, and we all get to continue free and happy without them. All those narcissistic perpetrators. Let's just get them out of here. All right, the end. Hit the thumbs up if you like it, subscribe, share with others, and keep the awareness spreading like wildfire. Amen. The end. Good night.